Welcome to a brand new episode of the Michele Tafoya podcast. It is Wildcard Wednesday. Can't wait to get started. But before I do, please hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching us, whether it's YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble. Just click subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to have you on board. We love seeing the growing group of subscribers. So jump in, add your name. Oh, it's free, by the way. Don't worry about that. Okay. So there was some news out of London in the last four or 5 days, and we're going to update it for you. First, let's just give you some background. London has this great music festival known as Glastonbury, and a lot of time there are up-and-coming artists, a lot of time there are big artists. Well, this was an up-and-coming artist, a rap band or group or artist, however you want to call it, named Bob Vylan. Catchy, you get it? Sounds like Bob Dylan, only it's Villain. V-Y-L-A-N. Okay. Bob Vylan. And they got up at Glastonbury, and this was live streamed on the BBC. And the BBC didn't think to stop the stream when this happened, but let's roll the tape, Misty.
Free, free. Free, free. Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF. 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 To the IDF! Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be.
Okay, I don't know what gave him standing to say any of those things, but he said them, he chanted them. I don't know what's scarier, how many flags were in the audience or just that he went full throttle with that. All right, since then, now that artist was supposed to come to the United States in October and tour. Now they're not coming anymore, because the Trump administration has pulled their visas. They may not come to the United States. Anti-Semitism is not welcome here. And sure enough, you can't make money off of it either. Secondarily, Sky News is reporting that their agent, United Talent Agency, dropped the artist in the wake of all of this. Now, this may be the most publicity this Bob Vylan outfit has ever gotten. I don't know that all publicity is good publicity. They may think it is. I don't know why this is edgy. I don't know why saying things like death to the IDF and from the river to the sea is seen as cool and edgy and chic, but it is. It is, because it's anti-establishment. I guess that's why. But they got their anti-establishment handed right back to them in a big way. So that's the news there. Recently here in Minneapolis, and you may know that Minnesota has a very large Somali population. I think it's second largest only to Somalia. And Jacob Fryer is the mayor of Minneapolis, and he has decided to embrace this group, this population so tightly that recently they had their Somali Independence Day. Now, I need to clarify something here. Somali Independence Day has nothing to do with the United States of America. Nothing. It celebrates the establishment of the Somali Republic. So it is celebrated in Somalia. But this large Somalian population here in the Minneapolis area, well, they celebrate it too. Now, I know people are going to say, well, so what? We celebrate Cinco de Mayo and St. Patrick's Day. Let me say something about that. Cinco de Mayo is more popular in the United States than it is in Mexico. And the reason is it's become associated with the celebration of Mexican American culture. The celebrations actually began in Columbia, California, where they've been observed annually since 1862. So Cinco de Mayo is a different thing. This Somalian Independence Day is something that celebrates the Republic of Somalia. But there was a celebration here, and our mayor worked very hard, Mayor Jacob Frye, to make sure that he could speak to the people in their own language. Take a look.
Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Igea! Somali Igea! Somali Igea! Amagaigawa, Jacob Frey, Yarub, Doka Magalada, Minneapolis, Mufiate, Sate.
Well, there are a lot of people in the Twin Cities and in Minnesota who are not comfortable with this. Again, I would say to him, you know, if people wanted to come here and live here, Ilhan Omar, isn't it because they wanted to be Americans? That they wanted to assimilate? That doesn't look like assimilation to me. It looks like their very own. You are welcome to celebrate. You are welcome to celebrate. But that the mayor of Minneapolis would go up there waving their flag. And by the way, here's a side note. Tim Walz recently, one of his big achievements as governor of Minnesota, changed the Minnesota flag. And I will tell you that the new Minnesota flag looks a whole lot more like that Somali flag than it ever did before. It's that blue. It's got a big star in the middle. So, whatever you make of that, I don't care if you're Somali or not. What I care about is that Jacob Frey, is he going to do that for like the Swedish folks, for the Norwegians that live here? I don't know. And I'll get hammered for this, but they're marginalized. All right. So there you go. That's the state of Minneapolis for you. So it should really not be a surprise that maybe the most talked about man in America right now is a socialist. He calls himself a democrat-socialist. He's basically a communist. Won the Democrat mayoral nomination in New York City. New York City. And we've been talking about this guy. We had Mike Lawler, the congressman from New York, on Monday to talk about this because he knows him and he knows what he wants to do to New York City, abolish the police, among other things, and jails. I'll just close jails and get rid of billionaires. We're going to give you a sample here of some things, what I just said, no billionaires. So this is classist. This is class warfare at its finest. But this man's name is Zor Mamdani. I'm sure you've been hearing it a lot, and you're going to hear it a lot more. He says he wants no billionaires. He said this on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. Let's roll it, Misty.
You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
We shouldn't have billionaires, but I'm going to work with them to make sure that we have a city that's fairer for everyone. See, fairness should be based on what you work for. Not just giving away your money because you happen to have earned a lot more, maybe taken a lot more risks in your life than anybody else, and employed a lot more people than anybody else. So I don't think we should have billionaires, he says, but I'm looking forward to working with them to make sure we have more equality. What is more equality? Does he just want to shrink the gap? Does he want to eliminate the gap? I'm hearing eliminate it, and you'll hear more in a minute from this guy, and then you'll hear somebody else later tell you why this is just communism. Folks, read some history, read about the Bolsheviks in Russia, read about socialism, read about communism. It does not work. So he also claims, does Mamdani, that he grew up in a third world country. Now, look, I think there's a part, if this guy were a conservative and he was sensible and common sense, I could see why people would find him very charming. But he's full of crap, is what he is. He's performative. This piece of video just shows how performative he is. Who records themselves eating in a campaign ad? Let's roll this.
So the third holy grail of taboos in American politics. You have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Tell me, why is Palestine a part of your politics?
When you grow up as someone, especially in the third world, you have a very different understanding of the Palestinian struggle.
Okay. Spare me your third world. And he's sitting there eating rice with his hands. You can eat however you want. I don't care, but you're doing it for the camera and you're doing it with a purpose. You're trying to convince people that you're a child of the third world. Your mom is a very wealthy and famous Hollywood producer. Your dad is a professor at Columbia University. You are the very picture of elitism. And I bet you only eat with your hands when there's a camera rolling. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and be sarcastic and say that. Folks, he's, let's go, baby. Yes, I'm pro-Islam, I'm pro-Palestinian, and I'm pro-socialism. You marry those things? I'm hoping this is a spasm in politics, but I have to ask if we're advancing one more rung on the road to socialism. Be afraid, be very afraid, and get active, because this is terrifying. Now, there is one other thing that proves that this guy is a communist, not just a socialist, a communist. Listen very closely to this gem. Roll it, Misty.
What the purpose is about this entire project, it's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win socialism. And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that. But making sure that we have candidates that both understand that and are willing to put that forward at every which moment that they have, at every which opportunity that they're given. We have to continue to elect more socialists. And we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right, or whether it is the end goal of seizing the means of production, where we do not have the same level of support at this very moment. And what I want to say is that it is critical that in the way that we organize, in the way that we set up our work and our priorities, that we do not leave any one issue for the other, that we do not meet a moment and only look at what people are ready for.
Not what we're ready for. Just let's hammer it on through, shall we? Seize the means of production. Kids, you've got an internet. Look it up. Look it up. Do a little homework as to what that meant in, let's say, Mao Zedong, China, what that meant during Lenin and Marx in Russia. Could you do a little work? Seize the means of production, that the government should be in charge of all the production. The government can't run anything right. Even the freest government in the world screws up. Been to the DMV lately? I mean, everything's running at a deficit and he wants to seize the means of production? Then this guy's running for mayor of New York City. So I'm ambivalent about all the attention he's getting, because it's going to make him a household name, and then people are just going to go, ooh, that's fun. Let's vote for him, like they did for Jesse Ventura here in Minnesota, the wrestler. Or is it going to bring enough attention to bring him down? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, there is an impersonator out there who did a brilliant job of showing us how Mamdani will speak a certain way to every different audience. Roll it.
Zor, Mamdani, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just picking up trash off the floor.
What do you think about the rent prices?
Rents have become astronomical and are pushing everyday hardworking Americans out of their homes.
What's your message to the Indian community?
The rent prices are way too high. Very big problem.
What about the black community?
I come all the way here from Uganda and they shut off my water because I don't pay. Why?
No, the African American community.
Man, I just feel like they tripping on the prices. They trying to price gouge. You know what the landlords be doing, but I ain't worried about it. I'm still Zor Mamdani, man.
What about Gen Z?
So I understand it's not about the rent increases, but it's the feelings associated with the rent increases. And therefore, we're going to give them free therapy.
What's up with all the accents?
So it's actually called code switching, and I'm way better at it than Kamala Harris.
Code switching. There you go. Hillary was good at it too. Or at least, no, she was terrible at it, but she tried. She tried. In a second, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you, as promised, why communism doesn't work. And this is a clip you're going to want to roll for all people who don't understand. Okay, but first, how you sleeping? I bet if you're a Jew in New York City, you're not sleeping that well knowing that that guy, Mamdani, could be running your city. An anti-Semite could be running the city with the largest Jewish population in the world. All right, but here's the point. There's a great product that I use to help me sleep better. It's called Sleep Cream, C-R-E-M-E. All one word, Sleep Cream. You can find them at sleepcream.com. These are all natural, beautifully scented. It's a topical moisturizer that I put on at bedtime. It smells really good, and it's infused with all natural, really high quality CBD. So it helps your muscles go, oh, it's time to go to sleep now, isn't it? Helps your body relax. It helps you sleep. Now, look, I was thinking, really? I thought I needed to take like melatonin or an Ambien or something like that. This stuff works. And I know a lot of you have tried it and we've gotten great feedback from it. I love this stuff. So here's the deal. If you don't like it, if you try it and you don't like it, you have 30 days in which you can return it for a full refund. That is guaranteed. Okay? So there's really no risk here. And I'm going to give you free shipping on your first order. Free standard shipping by using the code Home Run. Home Run. Use that code at checkout for free standard shipping on your first order. Home Run. And go to sleepcream.com. Sleep, CREME.com. Sleepcream.com. Use that code Home Run and enjoy the scented kind of aromatherapy and relaxing way to go to sleep. Okay. Now, why does communism not work? We're going to tell you here. I'm not going to tell you. This next piece of footage that I found on X is going to explain it. First, you're going to hear from someone who thinks they deserve to have everything provided for them, and somebody else who says, let's take another look. Roll it, Misty.
Every single one of your basic needs should be taxpayer funded. Food, water, healthcare, shelter, clothing, electricity, transit, access to the internet. These are all basic needs that we require to survive within this society, and as such, it is society's responsibility to ensure that those are provided to its people. Full stop. End of story. Have a day.
You could just say that you were lazy, unskilled, and unable to take care of yourself, but sure, let's play this out. I go to work, it's payday, I come home, I look at my paycheck, and the government has taken almost all of my paycheck from me to put into this taxpayer fund to redistribute to the rest of society. Well, that sucks. Why should I be the one who has to labor when I could just stay home and the government's gonna take care of me? So I quit my job. Then everyone else starts quitting their jobs because the government's gonna take care of us, right? But oh shoot. Now we're having mass supply chain issues because we don't have enough production. So then the government starts assigning jobs because society's got to run, you know what I'm saying? So you get assigned a job, and if you don't do your assigned job, then you don't get your rations. Congratulations, now you're a slave. Your utopian scenario also implies the heavy assumption that the humans in charge of your rations are not corrupt. But then again, who's ever heard of a corrupt politician, am I right? Anyways, if you develop a skill set, you can get a job which allows you to make money, which would then allow you to live a lifestyle of your choosing rather than a government-assigned lifestyle. And that's just one of the reasons why communism doesn't work, but I'm sure that it just hasn't been done right yet.
See, that's what everyone says. It just hasn't been done right yet. It leads me to this wonderful little joke by Ronald Reagan. He said that this little girl and her parents came up to him. Her parents were both Democrats, very liberal Democrats. And the little girl comes to him and he says, "Hi, what is it you want to do when you grow up?" And she says, "I want to be president." And he said, "That's really noble. What would you do if you became president?" And the little girl said, "I would give all the money to the homeless people so that they wouldn't be homeless." Well, that's a very noble goal. I'll tell you what, I'm going to make that happen for you. Here's the thing. You come to my house and mow the lawn and put out the trash and tidy up my yard, and I will pay you $50. And then you can take it over to the homeless person by the grocery store, and he can go in and he can buy his groceries, and he won't be starving anymore. And the little girl looks up at him and says, wait, why don't you just have the homeless man come to your house and mow your lawn and pick up the yard? And Reagan looks at her and says, congratulations, you now entered the Republican Party. And then he tops it off by saying, those parents never spoke to me again. You are able to work for yourself. And no, taxpayers should not be providing everyone for everything for everyone, because you'll run out of money. By the way, the biggest taxpayers are billionaires. Whether or not you think they pay their fair share, they're paying way more than anybody else. From Reagan to Thomas Sowell, one of my other favorite Americans. He turned 95 this week, and a lot of people are paying tribute online, and I'd like to do that as well. Here he is sitting with a friend of the show, Dave Rubin, and talking about how he was once a Marxist. Roll it, Misty.
You were a Marxist at one time in your life. Most people will find this hard to believe, but it is true.
But it's not that unusual. Most of the leading conservative thinkers of our time did not start off as conservative. You had a couple like Bill Buckley and George Will, but I mean Milton Friedman was a liberal and a Keynesian. Hayek was a socialist. Ronald Reagan was so far left, at one point the FBI was following him.
So then what was your wake up to what was wrong with that line of thinking?
Facts.
Facts. There you go. Because facts don't care about your feelings. Here's another piece of sound with Thomas Sowell. This is from long ago, but this is what makes the man's wisdom resonate with so many people. Go ahead and roll it.
Some time ago, I met with a well-known TV newsman, and I asked him, why is it that when I look on television and I see what black spokesmen are saying, that I see them saying diametrically the opposite of what I hear in the black community, what I see in Gallup polls and other polls. For example, that blacks in this country support voucher systems 2-to-1. Blacks in this country prefer more strict enforcement of crime laws, are opposed to quota systems in employment or college admission, and have never had a majority in favor of busing. And yet when I look at the TV news, an entirely different world is created before my eyes on that tube. And he said to me, well, we can put Ben Hooks or Jesse Jackson on TV, but we can't put the Gallup poll on TV.
And there you go. Just a really smart man who knows economics. Read Thomas Sowell. I was going to compare Charles Barkley to Thomas Sowell, but I think that's a bridge too far, so I won't. But I do envy Charles Barkley because he can say whatever the heck he wants, and everyone loves him for it. And now, you won't always agree. I don't always agree with Charles, but he says things in a way that is so real and so just right to the point, and in a way that devil may care. He doesn't care who disagrees or agrees with him. Recently, he talked about Caitlin Clark. And here's the thing about Caitlin Clark. She's arguably the best player in the world in women's basketball. She got the most votes for the WNBA All-Star game of anyone in the league, And yet the players ranked her 9th among guards. Not 9th in the league, 9th just among guards. The players continue to be really jealous. They hate Caitlin Clark. And so LeBron James has talked about this, and here's Charles Barkley referring to LeBron James' points about Caitlin Clark, and it's just good, so roll it.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty, girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world.
Oh, you are.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes. Listen, what she's accomplished, give her flowers. Stop being petty, all you women out there. She got y'all ass charters. She bringing all y'all this money to the table, but y'all being petty like dudes. LeBron, you 100% right. Y'all girls, stop being petty. Caitlin Clark, thank you for bringing all that money and shine to the WNBA.
Well, they're gonna hate you.
He says men are petty. Oh, women are. I think women are way pettier than men, but he's going to believe and say what he believes. But the point is, could you stop? Now, some people say, oh, but this is good drama. This is like a soap opera constantly going on in the background of the WNBA, and it's bringing even more eyes. Well, for me, it's just kind of a turnoff. It's like, oh, come on. I mean, I love watching her play, and there are a lot of players I love watching them play, but I don't want to see the crap that they do to her. And I just, and some of these players just can't handle that there is someone who is that good, and unlike the majority of the players in the league, she is white. Sorry. It's not her fault. Okay. Finally, we're going to leave you with a laugh. This is a comedian. I'm not super familiar with him. I think he also has a podcast, and he's a performer. He's an influencer. And Alligator Alcatraz is opening up in Florida. This is a holding place for illegal immigrants, illegal aliens who have come to the United States, have committed crimes, and they need to go back. So there's a big detention center. It's on a plot of land in the Everglades in Florida. Ron DeSantis made this happen in like 8 days. He does everything really efficiently and quickly. So rather than show you Alligator Alcatraz, let's just show you this.
Welcome to Alligator Alcatraz, where everyone is welcome. You see what I did there? Chomp, chomp, chomp. We have the greatest gators. Nobody's ever seen gators like this. I get along very well with them, by the way, but we have the greatest and biggest and strongest alligators with the biggest teeth. Their teeth are bigger than Kathy Hochul's teeth. I call her the bucktooth Botox bandit of Buffalo, and she's got huge teeth, the Wicked Witch of the Northeast. You look at her, and these gators' teeth are bigger, and they keep them in their mouth, unlike another bloodthirsty reptile by the name of Nancy Pelosi. You need a windshield wiper to get through a conversation with her because she's spitting all the time. She spits like nobody's ever seen before. It's a really horrible thing. But we have beautiful gators. I get along very well with these alligators. Have been known to handle bloodthirsty reptiles before. Just look at what I did to crooked Hillary Clinton. And we also have big, beautiful snakes. You have the snakes out there in the Everglades. And if you escape, these snakes are going to find you. They're going to squeeze you harder than Harry Sisson squeezed his cheeks with his little sit-down last week with Don Lemon. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Alligator Alcatraz is open and ready for business. It's officially ready to go. Everyone is welcome, and no one will be left behind. That much I can tell you. So thank you. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Alligator Alcatraz. And thank you for your attention to this matter.
Now, this is where I just go funny is funny. And for those of you that say, oh, he's just sexist, making fun of Kathy Hochul and Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton. No, a sexist would stay away from making fun of anyone of the opposite sex. I think it's just, hey, everyone is fair game. That's when the sexism goes out of it. You treat everyone the same. I thought that's what women wanted. If you want to swim with the sharks, swim with the sharks. If you want to swim with the alligators, go to Alligator Alcatraz. It's just funny. All right. It's funny. And, he gets along very well with the alligators. Those lines, those perfect little allusions to the Trump mannerisms are, when they're done well, they're just funny. So there you have it. That is Wildcard Wednesday. Be brave. Do good. Happy 4th of July. Let's remember everything that we have, every liberty, every freedom that we have thanks to something that happened on 4th of July about 250 years ago. And celebrate. And don't take it for granted, and don't be ashamed of being proud. All right, we'll see you next time. Hey, you can keep up with the Trump administration when you subscribe to the Trump Report. It's an email that brings you daily highlights from the Oval Office right to your inbox 5 days a week. Subscribe today at SalemPodcastNetwork.com/Trump.